Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this energy update for the month of November 2025, as well as the 11/11 portal 2025. I'm going to be sharing some of the insights that I've received from tuning into the ethers about this month and also the 11/11, as well as a little bit of astrology, a little bit of numerology for this month, and some new art. All right, so first thing that I was shown when I tuned into the energies of November was these two stones. I was shown amethyst and kyanite. If you're into crystal healing or color therapy, these might be ones that you might want to consider working with this month. Amethyst is a very protective stone, as well as helping us connect with our higher consciousness. And kyanite also is known as the stone of alignment. So both of these stones can really help us connect with our higher self and to stay grounded throughout what is shaping up to be probably another pretty chaotic period. All right, so when I felt into the energies, I was shown some kind of, I was really feeling a lot about the earth. Like it felt like there was either some sort of a rupture or a rift opening or something. Now, this may not be on the physical level, but I'm certainly feeling it on the spiritual level. And actually, I was also shown a couple of images, and one was this 20-pointed magenta colored star, which I've painted here, and I saw it kind of appearing in the earth, just like an aster flower, okay? And aster means star, and I really am being shown that this image is showing that we have a specific energy that is available to us right now, or angelic beings that are connected with the stars. So this can be a really, really powerful month for connecting with any of the star energies that you might connect with. Portals wide open for that at this time. Also, these little three-sided whirligig jobbies there that are I saw up in the air, okay? And so asking about that, I was shown that they were like air elementals and that they're being kind of kicked up by the movement of the earth. Just out of interest, I had another painting, which I'll show up here, that came to me when I tuned in way back about 9 years ago, almost exactly, to the energies of that time. And I was shown this image. It also had these little white whirligigs going on. And so that really is showing me that there is a cycle here that feels like it's coming to completion. So when I tuned into this earth, I was shown this image here that was like these four streams coming down, and almost like it looks like a tornado, something like that. These are like big, heavy storm clouds, and this energy just coming down to earth. And if you compare that to the one from 2016, where there was this big energy up, it feels like this is the ending of this whole 9-year cycle. All right, so 9 is this number of completion. We've got some kind of a cycle completing right now and leading us into a new cycle that is starting up this winter, and that will start to really accelerate sometime in 2026. All right, so what I'm being shown here is that we're entering a really kind of a time of in between. All right, and the message that I got, I'll just read it to you. It says there is a finality to this month. And this is before I remembered about that other painting, right? So it's already talking about finality to this month, something coming to a close or coming to fruition. They said something hangs in the balance, and the outcome of this depends not on the thing itself. I don't even know what that thing is. I don't even know what the cycle was. I didn't get any information from that, even though I asked, right? But it did say the outcome of this depends on not on the thing itself, but on our response to it, our reaction or our lack thereof, okay, our resistance. It's imperative that we go inward and to find the strength within, to find the meaning within, to find the inner voice, the inner instructions. All right, so I think it's worth exploring the meaning of the astrological time that what we're moving into in November, okay? So most of you are familiar with Halloween or Samhain, right, which is one of the great pagan festivals of the year, all right? Usually it's celebrated in early November. This year it actually falls on November 6th, all right? And so what Samhain is, it represents the descent into the underworld, all right? It is the gateway to the darkest days of the year, all right? And in this year, in 2025, it really corresponds with an astrological event. Well, first of all, it always corresponds with the 1111 portal. Okay, it's very close to the 1111, so it has some resonance no matter when the astrological date actually falls. 1111 is this date that has the alchemical magic of numbers, right? That's embedded into it. That happens, every year in November. 11 is considered a master number, and it is a number that's very heavily associated with spiritual awakening and with tuning into higher guidance. And so it is no coincidence that this happens around this time when the veil is thinnest, when we're going down into this underworld, right? Because what that process of the process of death and dying that the world is going through, and I'm speaking, of course, from the Northern Hemisphere perspective, which is where I'm at. So it's going to be a little different if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. But this 1111 hooks us into that great cycle and into this time when we're delving deep, right? So it's an invitation to actually go within, right? And sometimes the awakening process, we think of it as this lovely thing of light and joy, and it is ultimately, right? But often when we are called to awaken, when it's time, when our spirit ripens enough that we start awakening to something higher, it will trigger a lot of chaos in our lives. And if you have had it and gone through a spiritual awakening, you're going to know exactly what I mean here. Because what happens is that the awakening, part of what it does is that any accumulated karma, it's time for the spirit to start busting through that. Okay, so many of the things that we are attached to in life or wrapped up in life, career, relationships, that kind of thing, often we got to that point through our karmic selves, right? And when that karma starts falling away, a lot of times things in life start to fall apart, right? So we may see this November starting to open up a lot of falling apart, or a lot of chaos might be something that we start to see, whether in our personal lives or in the outer world. Um, this is not something that I'm saying to scare you. I'm just saying that it's actually part of the process. Okay, so when we bring that up forward and are aware of it, it becomes much, much easier to navigate, because you can take the bigger picture of, okay, sometimes, like if we have a broken bone that has set wrong, the doctors have to break it again in order to set it right. Okay, so what this can be, if you are experiencing things falling away or things falling apart, it's a part of the natural process. Okay, just like in nature, if you could see outside my window, I see all these beautiful fall leaves, and they're all about to fall. Right. I see my garden, and we've had a couple slight frosts, and some of the things are starting to die and die back and die down. All right. And so that is this initial part of the awakening process. So what I'm actually understanding right in this moment here about this cycle, that what I was seeing way back in 2016 was like there was a wave of awakenings that had just started around then. Okay, so I think many of us who we're going through this period where things were about to fall apart back in 2016. You'll be coming out of that and really starting to hit your stride in terms of aligning with your purpose if you've been doing your work right at this time. So for some of us, this right now is a huge opening and a portal into really moving up into our higher purpose, okay? If you are newly awakened, it may be a portal that may start to move you into this cycle of things falling apart. Again, don't be scared of this. Hopefully this video will help you to realize what's going on and just call on divine grace to help you through it, and understand that spirit will always move you towards something higher and better things. You just have to kind of bear with it and be willing to let things go as they happen. All right. Okay, so the guidance gave me all sorts of advice for this time, so bear with me. They kind of go on and on, so bear with me with this, but hopefully it will give you something that you can work with over this month. All right, so they were saying about solemnity and respect being really, really important to practice at this time, right? And I think partly it's because of this whole, we're in this portal to the dark days, and we are in this time where we can connect with the lower spirit world and with our ancestors. Okay, the astral world is wide open, and so that is something to be treated with respect. All right, and they say don't feel pressured to go out and celebrate. Okay, we all know we're entering into holiday season, saying just like don't feel pressured to do something that doesn't feel aligned with you. They say quiet introspection may feel more appropriate. Even when you're gathering together with others, it may feel better to plan for small, intimate gatherings, quiet contemplation, or enjoying music together, poetry, something like that. Okay, they say be mindful of overeating. Overconsumption goes counter to the spirit of the season. Consider that the spirit of a feast may be as much in the quality and deep enjoyment of food and company than in the quantity and kind of heavy celebration. Okay. Also, they say consider also that light is food for the soul. A smaller meal enjoyed in the presence of many candles or strings of light may rest better with body and soul this year. And if I read between the lines in here, if you at all are feeling inclined to fasting, this would be an amazing month for that. Personally, I find that very challenging. So because I find it challenging, I may actually dive in and play with it a little bit. They're really making it pretty clear that fasting is probably going to be a very good practice. All right, so bringing an aspect of devotion to all that you do can help to offset any imbalances that you may feel, all right? So being deliberate and mindful in your choices and actions. And coincidentally, Jupiter is going into retrograde right on 11/11. Jupiter is this planet of expansion, right? It's this planet of abundance. It going into retrograde makes a lot of sense that we're being called to going within and to quietude and to fasting even, right? Because that's going to be really aligning with this planetary influence. When Jupiter goes into retrograde, it's a real beautiful invitation to go within and to start to look. Shadow work would be an amazing thing to do, right? Looking at, okay, where's the discomfort, feeling into that, what needs to be brought up for healing. Okay, and that's something that we can do very beautifully in this time when Jupiter's retrograde. I think it goes direct not until I think it's March or May, sometime in spring 2026. So we've got a few months here. We're likely to be in these kind of deep blue, purple energies, and really being invited to go within to do some breath work, maybe center, balance, and really pay attention to where you're being guided. All right. They say that this is not a good month in general for rash impulsiveness. Okay. Even though it is suggested to check in frequently with your physical and emotional bodies and to do what you need to do to maintain a state of balance and composure, even if it means changing plans. Okay, so again, don't feel pressured to go to a party, holiday party, whatever, if it's just feeling jarring to you. Just don't. And even if you've said yes, don't feel guilty about saying no. All right. Okay, I'm going to go on. I'm just going to read word for word what they told me because I think this is a beautiful phrase here. Realize that a beautiful dance of light and dark is what brought this world into being. Darkness is a part of this world and always will be as long as the world is manifest. Do not be afraid of it. Even the deepest darkness contains a seed of light. The seed of light is within you, within each of us. As we enter these darkest days, see, feel, sense, imagine that seed of light as a tiny spark within your heart. With each step forward in time through this month and all through the dark days that follow, see that light burning higher and brighter. This is the inner sun that cannot be extinguished. When the sun lies weak on the horizon, then must our hearts hold vigil, allowing the rays of the inner sun to shine forth and warm the world. Look around and you will see that light in everyone around you. Every human soul has at least a seed of light. Know this to be true and speak to that seed of light when you speak to others. Also, when you speak of others, regardless of their race or nation or creed or beliefs, whether like yours or not, recognize that that seed of light is universal and speak so as not to extinguish it in yourself or others, but provide it with the air and the space it needs to grow, or at least not to diminish. Do not diminish your fellow human beings, regardless of their attitude or how far off the mark you perceive them to be. To be human is sacred. Remember this. All right. It's a little bit more I'll share in a bit, but I want to sit with that a little bit, okay? Because I think there's a lot of distraction out there, and our attention is kind of the real battlefield right now. Where you put your attention right now is very, very, very important. Okay, and so we're being given this choice. Are we to put our attention on the healing work that needs to be done within? Or are we going to succumb to the distractions that are, making us place our attention on things that make us feel outraged or angry or upset, okay? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be aware of things. We need to. We also need to be willing to call things out, right, when they're unjust and that kind of thing. That's important. It's also important to maintain our sense of humanity and to keep looking for the light in others, all others, okay? Even if they don't agree with us, especially if they don't agree with us, be mindful of the light within that person. Be mindful also that they may have aspects of light that complement yours. We all have darkness within us too, so it's important to be humble and to recognize that we're all only human and we're stumbling through this experience together, right? We have a lot of power as to where we put our attention. And so I think right now we're really being encouraged to place that attention within and to do some deep, deep healing work this winter. All right, going on, last little bit that I was given to share with you, words from Spirit. It is not great works that are called for at this time, but holding every little action sacred. Minding the little things, giving thanks for the small comforts, finding peace with where you are at in this moment in your life right now. I'm going to read that again. Finding peace with where you are at in this moment in your life right now. Regardless of what has happened, is happening, will happen, your divine nature is constant. Nothing can rob you of this without your consent. Give thanks, right? So maintaining that sense of gratitude. If you watched my last video, you're familiar with the Hawkins scale of consciousness. Gratitude is like way at the top. And to me, it's like this easy elevator, not always easy, but relatively easy elevator to a higher consciousness is to really just sink into gratitude. And I feel like it's easy to feel grateful when we're, looking at things that make us happy, but can we find gratitude even when things trigger us, right? Can we redirect to gratitude? Can we redirect to love? Coming back into our hearts. Sometimes we may need to walk away from a conversation. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Love does not mean that you have to keep engaging. Sometimes it means I need to take a time out and go recenter and ground myself and come back to my own sense of peace within, which is always here for us. Final thoughts, the astral world. Okay, the astral is it's part of our spiritual world, but it's not the only part. Okay, I feel like sometimes people think of the astral world as being the be all and end all of the spiritual world. The astral is where we go when we dream. It's also where we go when we die, right? So, which is why the astral world is very, very accessible to us at this time. Okay, and it can be a very, very rich source of connecting with spiritual guidance. Many of our spirit guides are here for us in the astral, but the lower portions of the astral can be pretty horrific. All right, so we also have to remember that that there is a higher astral. So if you do happen to come against any entities or feel like you're under psychic attack, we can reach up into the higher astral asking for our angels to guide us. I really, really encourage that. And also the etheric realm and the stars. Okay, this is what this image is all about, is helping us to connect with some of the higher energies that are here for us beyond the astral, for higher consciousness. When we tune into sacred geometry, okay, this is a beautiful way to help to realign. And we can do that through images, we can do that through visualizations, we can also do it through meditations and through things like Kundalini Yoga, which works with the body and puts the body into certain geometries that help to realign and to cleanse our field and to help us to bring our physical body into a state that assists us in connecting with the higher energies. All right, so this was a lot, I know, and not everybody was able to get to the end of this, but if you did, I really commend you for your attention, and I feel like this can be such a beautiful, beautiful time. I think there's a lot of light that is here for us right now that we can actively invite into our fields, invite into our physical bodies, invite into our emotional bodies, our astral, our, everything. There's so much light that we can soak up. Spiritual protection is very, very important as well. And with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to my next Lightworkers Cafe event. This will be on November 9th, so it's right in between the actual astrological Samhain date, cross-quarter date, and the 11/11 portal. This will be a guided meditation gathering. So I will lead a guided meditation to assist us with creating a protective field around us, around our homes, in preparation for the 11/11 date, as well as inviting higher light and higher beings to work with us. Okay. And so you are very invited to do that. That's Sunday, November 9th. Come join us. The link is down below. It's completely free. So have an amazing, amazing November 2025 11/11 portal. And remember, you were born to be free.